So this one is going to be on Saturday the 23rd at New Covenant Schools. Meeting's at 10 o'clock, but you got to be in line before 10, otherwise they will not let you in. So I'm telling folks get there at 9:30, okay? Because there could be a line out the door. So you get there, you're going to give them your voting information, they're going to verify you in the database that you're a registered voter in Lynchburg, and they're going to let you into the meeting.
Dwight Williams, thank you. Welcome to the show. The mayor asked that we sit down and we talk about what's going on in about a week. So I'd just like to let you introduce yourself to the people and give them a little bio on yourself and what we got going on.
Okay. Again, Dwight Williams, running for the chairman of the Lynchburg Republican City Committee. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate that. Our mayor's spoken very highly of you, so I'm looking forward to our discussion here.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, our discussions her and I's aren't always the greatest, so the fact that she was saying good things about me that's good.
She has. She really has. And she encouraged me to come down here and talk with you. So,
well, thank you for being here.
Here we are.
First of all, to get started, I am not Republican nor Democrat. I am, I guess, an independent. I love rational thought. And whoever seems to be spitting more of that is the direction that I will go. And right now it seems to be Republicans. But what does that title mean?
Right now in this day and age, as you probably are aware watching the news, you've got all these different titles, right? Democrat, Republican, Independent, all these different party affiliations, party titles. What it really comes down to is what values that you have as an individual and in which party closely aligns to those values. So from a personal perspective, I am first an American. I'm a Lynchburger. I am a conservative, and I'm a Republican. And as a conservative, I believe in small government. I believe in more freedoms, more liberties for people. I don't believe in us having all these different laws that are out there to restrict us from actually enjoying our life. Per the Constitution. My personal beliefs are what I would consider to be those conservative beliefs. Now, the Republican Party is the party that most closely aligns with those conservative beliefs that I have. They don't align with everything that I have. And no one box you put yourself in, like the Republican box or the Democrat box or the Independent box, no one box is going to be all-inclusive of what you believe. You're going to have to pick and choose. But to me, the Republican Party most closely aligns with what I believe. As a human being. Above and beyond all those titles, of American, Lynchburger, conservative, Republican, I'm a Christian first and foremost. I believe in Jesus Christ. I have believed that way my entire life. And so the Republican Party most closely resembles the box I want to be in because it allows people of all different faiths to be a part of it. It's a respecter of faiths. It's not going to judge you or kick you out because you're one particular faith. So, again, the Republican Party is more of a box that you sit in, and it just most closely resembles or most closely aligns with what I believe in.
Like, I'm just learning about Democrat and Republican. Like, I'm only going out and voting for the first couple times in my life. Like, okay. I'm really just, and I think a lot of people are like that too.
Oh yeah.
So, and it's one of my goals is to get people more actively engaged in the decision making in our city.
Everyone has some trigger that's going to get them off the couch, right? That's going to get them wanting to be involved with a party or be involved with local politics. For me, I've been for years yelling at Fox News on the TV. You see someone on TV, when Obama was president, you're always yelling at the TV, no, you're wrong, that's wrong, all that kind of stuff. But what am I doing about it? And the answer was nothing. Other people were doing stuff. Other people were making decisions for me, but because I wasn't involved, I couldn't be involved in those decision-making processes. So when I did decide to finally get off the couch and do something, that's when all of a sudden I realized maybe I can influence the outcome of my local elections. I can actually influence the outcome of my state elections. My vote does count. How do I know? Because I went and voted for people and they got elected. I knocked on doors for people, they got elected. I made phone calls for people, they got elected. And so I think that everyone has their trigger. And the question is, what is it that brings them off the couch? What is it that brought you off the couch to want to do a podcast like this?
By chance, we ended up in Lynchburg about a year and 8 months ago. And now that I'm in this place, this is home. This is my first home ever. And I'm being embraced wholeheartedly into the veteran community. and I'm getting an identity here, and then I'm asked to or go in front of the camera for news channels, and local newspapers do an article on me, and like all of a sudden I'm like telling Lynchburg who I am and what I stand for, and in doing that, I feel like I'm obligated to be an active role member in the community, and like really bring my knowledge and my insight and my compassion and empathy and discipline and all the other things that I've learned and acquired over the years. I want to bring it here because I think Lynchburg is like the perfect size and shape and everything to be an example of what it looks like when a community really comes together and is just really productive, and like it can be a model for other like-minded and like-sized cities, and who knows what can happen from there. But I definitely can't sit around and just expect that people are going to make the right choice, because they haven't been. And I like to say that I'm an idiot because I just never really paid attention in school, but sometimes I think that was a good thing, because I wasn't hardwired to think a certain way. And now that I'm of the age that I am, I'm just so interested in how all this works, and like you, I just want to feel like I'm involved and I have a say, or I can't complain if I'm not doing something about it. Yeah. So that's for me, and it's hopeful to hear you say that like you have done those things and you've seen the people that you want get elected and the change that's happening. So yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, it really just you've got to be involved. You've got to get active. You can't just sit back and watch. And I know you and I were talking a little bit beforehand about the party and why I'm running. I'll explain a little bit of that, and it goes hand in hand with being involved. The reason I'm running as the chairman of the Lynchburg Republican City Committee. A lot of words, I know, but that's the name of the committee, Lynchburg Republican City Committee. Just so you know, every city, every county has a unit. Okay, has a local Republican unit, and then those are organized into districts, and the districts organized into states, and then state organized into the actual the Republican National Committee. The reason I'm running for the LRCC chair is because I think a lot of the people don't understand how much influence that your local unit actually has on local politics. Okay, so you talk about the 7 city council members that we have. Those people are all put in their positions, so they can run as independents if they like. But most of them, if not all, actually all of them, are running under the flag of some party, Democrat or Republican, right? So as the party, there's a lot of influence into who actually gets to run. So if you and I are both running for city council, we both decide we want to run under the Republican name, there's going to be a primary, a contest between the two of us. Only one of us gets to run as a Republican. Whoever wins the contest gets the R after their name, becomes the Republican nominee, all right? Well, the party is responsible for putting all that together. Sometimes they go and they find the people to run. Other times their job is just to endorse or nominate someone to run. And so once that process is complete, that person now runs in the general election in November as a Republican. A lot of people don't know how that person gets to run in that election. It all starts back at the party apparatus. So for that to happen, you've got to have somebody that can preside over the committee. Make sure the committee provides a level playing field for all candidates, whether you're an incumbent or if you are a brand new challenger. It should be a level playing field. And so I'm running for chairman because right now here in Lynchburg, we don't have a level playing field. Okay, it's very clear to me, it's clear to others, you might even see it yourself, that we have a committee that wants to put their thumb on the scale and make sure that one candidate wins or another loses, or they will support one or two candidates or one or two elected officials, not all 5 that we have. And that's not the job of the committee. The committee's job is to support all elected Republican politicians. Okay, it's to provide a level playing field for all people who are running under the Republican banner as a candidate, whether it's for city council, for school board. Even your electoral board, they don't run for electoral board, they're appointed, but the party, it all starts at the party level. So I think if people understand that your local party has a lot of influence on local politics, that should be enough to get people off the couch and want to be a part of it. If you're not a part of it, then what are you contributing to your community? How are you?
what influence is the kind of directing them to be this person? Because I'm assuming that everybody doesn't start off that way, right? Let's assume that everybody has good intentions for the most part.
I would start there.
Coming into this.
Sure.
How does someone get swayed, or how does it get to that point? And then, how do you make yourself immune to that?
Sure. There's a lot of pressure by outside external forces, such as other sitting Republicans, whether it's a delegate or a senator or a congressman. And when you're head of the party, the local unit, okay, you're going to be in contact with your local delegates, your local senators, your congressmen, your local city officials, and so there's going to be pressure for the chair of the committee to go one way or another. But that's where you have to have a level head and understand what your job actually is. Your job is not to do the bidding of whatever elected official wants you to do. Your job is to support them. Your job is to make sure that you promote what they're doing, their activities. Your job is to, if they run for re-election and they get the nomination, your job is to support them, financially, door knocking. But your job is not to put your finger on the scale. How do you not do that? What it really comes down to is learning the word no. Now, I'm a former chairman. I used to be the chairman up in Waynesboro. I was chair up there. Prior to that, I was at the district level as a regional vice chair. And so I've seen the pressure. I know the pressure. And what it comes down to is learning the answer no. I am not going to make decisions based on what's good for me. This is not about me. This is about the committee. This is about what's good for my community in Lynchburg. So kind of a case in point, part of being a chair, okay, is not just presiding over the committee. You're also a part of the district committee because you represent the local level at the district level, okay? And then every couple of years, you're a part of the legislative district committee, which is one that stood up just to nominate your delegate or your senator, okay? Someone like a Wendell Walker, Mark Peake, okay? And so I was part of the LDC up north where I came from, and we had to make a decision based on how are we going to nominate our candidates. So we had two candidates that were running, and I'm friends with both of them, good friends with both of them. And I also knew how both of them wanted me to vote. But to me, it didn't matter how they wanted me to vote. They're the candidate. My job is to make sure that the playing field is level. Now, I know who I was going to support. I knew who I was going to be voting for. I'm not going to publicize that because that's all water under the bridge at this point. But when I made the decision for the Waynesboro, what nomination method we were going to support, it was what was good for the city, what was good for our party, not what I wanted, not what was good for me, not what would make me look good. And quite honestly, the person that I was going to vote for, the process that I voted for would not have actually helped them as much. But I'm not in it for me. I'm not in it for my candidate. You're in it for what's good for your party, what's good for your community. I think where we are today here in Lynchburg is because I think the current chair is allowing themselves to be influenced by external forces. Okay, when you have a congressman who is not as, how can I say this, not as level-headed as other congressmen are, tends to be a little combative, I think that adds to it. You've got city council people who are not trying to play nicely in their playground. And so I think all of that is pressure that adds up. And as chair, if you can't handle that, if you don't know when to say no, if you don't know how to toe the line and know exactly what your job is, you shouldn't be in that position. So I think we're here because of that reason. I think we've got people that are trying to make changes in Lynchburg that are not good for the party. Definitely are not good for the city.
By voting you in, you would like to clean some of this up and fix some of these problems. How do you do that?
So it's all about showing respect to each other. Okay, Nathaniel, we just met. Okay, but we've talked a little bit, right? I know your Marine Corps background. Again, thank you for serving. I have a ton of respect for you starting right there, because you signed the dotted line that you would defend this country against all threats, foreign and domestic, right? Okay, so I have respect for you. That's how we have to have respect for each other. Is we're all Republicans. There's 80,000 residents here in Lynchburg. I would say, let's say half were Republican, okay? Well, not Every Republican out there wants to be a part of this committee right now because it's too divisive. It's if you don't believe what they believe, you're ostracized. You're attacked in public. You're attacked in front of your family. You're not welcome. And so we've got to fix that. We've got to bring the party back more towards the center. So right now it's far, far to the right. Bring it back more towards the center. And as Ronald Reagan said, it needs to be a big tent Republican Party where everybody's welcome in. Okay, whether you're a moderate Republican, if you're a compassionate conservative like George W. Bush was called, you're welcome in. If you're far right, you're a MAGA Republican, you're welcome in. You're a Tea Party Republican, you're welcome in. It needs to be a welcoming environment because that's what we're supposed to be, a big tent. But we're not welcoming because we're being too divisive. We're not respecting each other. If you and I disagree, we're pointing fingers at each other and poking each other in the chest and calling each other rhinos and names. That doesn't do anybody any good.
But isn't that the core of who we are as human beings? We have to have a team. We have to have a common enemy. We have to have a struggle. It's like encoded in our DNA. Like Marine Corps, if you put us all together and say, hey, Taliban, Iraqis, this is your enemy, go fight. We're one big team. Mm-hmm. But you take us back to the States and we've got no war, we'll start fighting each other. Mm-hmm. I mean, I fought more probably Marines than I did anybody else. How do we get the culture? Because that is something that is ingrained in us. We mm-hmm. do have to have that. I mean, everything, social media, everything that we do, everything that we touch is divisive. We'll figure out a way to argue and fight and tear each other down some way or another. Mm-hmm. How do we change the culture? How do we embrace that side of us that does need a little bit of war, but also understand that we have to coexist and we have to mm-hmm. have just a common ground that we all can, no matter what letter is next to your name or how you vote or what your affiliations are, we have to be able to coexist. Sure.
Well, you hit the right word there. We have a commonality, right? So in the Republican Party, we all probably agree on the same 96% of things. It's that 4% that we disagree on. So go back to your analogy about being in the Marine Corps, right? So you say you fought the Taliban out there. When you come home, you fight other Marines here. Okay, but if you're in a bar fight, okay, and I as a civilian decide to insult you as a Marine, I bet you every other Marine in that bar is going to stand up no matter what they think about you, but they're going to defend you, right? Is that a fair analogy?
Absolutely.
Why? Because the common thing is you all sign that same dotted line saying that you will serve this country and you will defend her against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And just because of that one thing you guys did, you had that commonality. Okay? Now, when I walk away as a civilian, and you guys may go back to fight each other, but you still came together to work together. The problem is right now in the Republican Party, we agree on the same 96%. It's that 4% we don't. But when there is a fight in that bar, we're not coming together. We just let them fight on their own. They're okay. That's not how we do this. We need to show respect and love to each other. Okay, so since the beginning of time.
We need to get in more bar fights. I got it.
Well, no. But I'm just using that analogy that they come together. Look, it comes down to we have to live in peace with each other. This is our community. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to speak from a local level. I don't care about the federal level or the state level. This is the local level. You live in Lynchburg, I live in Lynchburg. This is our community. I love living in Lynchburg. I love the people here. I love the city. I love what I do. I love the church I go to. Chances are the people that will be voting for me on Saturday, they've got kids that go to the same school that my kids go to. Half of them probably go to the same church I go to. This is our community. We have to fight for our community. We have to put aside these little pedantic reasons to fight amongst ourselves and bring the fight to where it needs to be, which is against the Democrats, against other parties that are going to threaten what we're trying to do. That's how we fix it. But to fix it comes down to loving each other. Okay? It comes down to respecting each other.
You said something good, and I want to just add on to it because sure. I would say, because I float somewhere in the middle mm-hmm. of this R&D thing, the common enemy should be all the horrible things that can come to Lynchburg, mm-hmm. right? Like sure. Through my life, I've seen, the darkest corners of the world, mm-hmm. right? And we're not immune to that here in Lynchburg. We right. can have another civil war. Mm-hmm. The power grid can go out. Our water can get contaminated. Natural disasters can come through. Like, all of these things are imminent, whether we like it or not. What if that's the common enemy? Like, what if that's what we spend our extra time and resources is preparing for a moment like that? So that way, when it does happen, instead of tearing each other apart, which we will inevitably do, because it will be a fight for resources.
Sure.
Why not figure out what those resources are now? Figure out how to implement those resources when the time comes. Who does what? Identify local leadership and like make this emergency team, plan, whatever you want to call it, and let that be the focus. So that way, you know, we get to thinking about how finite and fragile this whole thing is. That way, because for me, that's the thing that keeps me focused on what is most important. Is all those things that I've seen, my experiences in this life. Like, when I hear people arguing about shit that does not matter up on that dais, it's like, if you only could see into my mind, see the way that I think, like how ugly this really could get if we really started to fight each other. Because I don't know, it just, I wanted to go above even Republican and Democrat. I don't want even Democrats to be the enemy. I want it to be, you know, we're all citizens of Lynchburg. I mean, you can be a Republican or Democrat, but we get along in the middle. No one's the enemy. The enemy is what could happen on the other side of that natural disaster or whatever. I know I just said a lot, but...
Well, no, but to your point, I mean, this is our community, right? So in a perfect world, okay, perfect world, none of us have ever sinned. It's perfect, 100%. Garden of Eden, right? There's no parties. How boring. There's no parties. We're just in Lynchburg. We do the best we can for our city, and that's it. But the problem is that this is not a perfect world, right? And we all do have things that have influenced and have, you know, for you, it's your experiences having gone all over the world, seen different things. You've seen more things all over the world than I probably ever have. And so our views are going to be a little bit different. You're going to see things for how bad things could be because you've seen it in wherever country you've been or wherever city or town you've lived in. You know, some people have never left this country. They've never left the city. They've been here their entire life, or they're so ingrained here that they can't see what's coming down the pike. We should be preparing for what's going to happen. I mean, our democracy, as you know, is a very fragile thing. It's basically being held together by the fact that people are willing to follow the law. What if anarchy happens? What if chaos occurs? Are we going to help each other?
Absolutely not.
No, it's going to be every man for himself. Maybe the first day or so, yeah, I'll bring you that stick of butter you want. But after day 3, you're on your own, buddy.
There's some crazy statistic out there that if the power goes out for like 60 days or more, like 80% of the population would be dead.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Just to make sure.
Yeah, still says it.
Nice. Which is wild. I mean, what does that say about human beings? Like, this is all a fucking show. We're all agreeing to participate, you know, while we have all the resources and all the comforts and all the things that make this whole thing manageable. As soon as we start fighting for resources, I mean, we turn right back into animals. And that's scary.
It is.
That's real scary.
If you join the committee, Nathaniel, I want you to have a say in the committee. If I'm the chairman, I want you to say, hey, Dwight, I'd like to cover this topic in it. Or I think we should vote this way. And you know what? I should be listening to what you have to say. But people that I'm talking to who are outside of the committee don't see that. They don't feel that way. And so we're trying to bring them back in. And the way we do it is we respect one another. We have the creed. We have our marching orders right here. This is all the stuff we agree on. The 96% is right here. The other 4%, yeah, we're going to disagree. But you know what? Let's just dust our feet off and just move away from it. Not going to agree on everything, but we can do it respectfully and we can have love about it. You know, again, this is our community. We shouldn't be at war with each other.
Absolutely. If you get elected, how long are you in office, or how long are you in this position?
It's a 2-year term.
2-year term. Let's say you get elected and you're 2 years in. Are you trying to stay in that position? Do you like it there? Do you have aspirations to move up? Whatever that means. Like, are you?
I have no aspirations, and I'm being perfectly honest. I have zero aspirations. I just want to see my community do better, At the end of my 2 years, if somebody else thinks they can do it better, you know what? Maybe I'll step down and let them have it. You know, to me, I go back to in the church. One of the common problems you have in the church is people who are put in certain leadership positions end up building their own silos where it's my Sunday school, I'm going to run it this way. It's mine, it's mine. This is not mine. It's not my committee. I serve as the chairman, I serve at the pleasure of the committee. That's it. And so, no, I have absolutely no aspirations other than seeing Lynchburg become a better place. Seeing the party grow, but grow the right way. Grow with people who want to be a part of it and welcome people in. That's what I want to see. I want to see fair elections across the board where we're not putting our thumb on the scale and tipping the balances toward one candidate or away from another. I want to restore order where we're treating all of our elected officials equally. Where if you're an elected official and you have an engagement in the community, we're promoting that engagement. Where we're not slapping you on the wrist for something that you may or may not have done. Where we're not ostracizing you in public and writing resolutions and censuring people. We got to bring a community together. Where we're going to show respect and love for one another. I mean, one of the taglines of Lynchburg is loving in Lynchburg. But we're not loving.
It's kind of ironic.
Yeah, we're not loving. And I think we can be there.
We should change the name to hating in Lynchburg and maybe we'll reverse psychology.
For some people, that's more applicable.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm running.
Draw me a little picture of what it looks like if we don't get you in that position. She stays there. Helgeson gets his wish and he becomes mayor somehow and completely destroys all the work that's being done on the Republican side and the Democrats take over. What does Lynchburg look like under their control in your eyes?
We saw a little bit of it during COVID when the Democrats had control of city council. And that's something we should not repeat. Anytime the Democrats have control over...
For those of us that are new to the city who weren't here during COVID and are watching that are new to Lynchburg, what does that mean?
We went back to the Second Amendment sanctuary movement.
Okay.
So that was not welcome here in Lynchburg at all. Because as you know, most Democrats don't like guns. Most Democrats think a semi-automatic is a fully automatic weapon. And so when something like that, and that's just a one issue, when that came to the table here in Lynchburg, that was not well received at all. In fact, city council was more interested in not doing it than actually listening to what their people wanted. So, and that's common with Democrats. Democrats typically have their own agenda. It's about what they want, not about what their community wants.
Are they the ones responsible for letting boys in girls' locker rooms and vice versa? And
absolutely.
All this LGBT, LMNOPs? Absolutely.
Republicans typically don't do that. Okay, so here's our case in point. We'll bring it back to elections, okay? 3 years ago, there was a bill that was passed. Okay, this happened during Ralph Northam administration. Ralph Northam was a Democrat who was our governor. Okay, at the time he had several bills that were passed, but the big one was the one that came to light recently, where Lynchburg was trying to do a firehouse primary to pick our local city council candidates. Okay. The bill that came out 3 years ago basically says that you have to do an open primary for picking your city council candidates. Okay, an open primary is where you go to the ballot box and you actually pull the lever for who you want to get the nomination. A firehouse primary is one where it's done in the party. There's party rules. It's similar, but it's all party controlled. The Democrats want to throw chaos into the works. So what they do is they say, okay, because here in Virginia, you're not registered as a Republican or Democrat. We're all independents technically, right? So when you go to the DMV and change your address, and they ask you, do you want to register to vote? And you say yes. You don't tell them which party you're affiliated with, because we don't do party registration in Virginia. We're all independents, okay? Some states, like I came from Illinois, you register with a party. So you only get party information from the state. That makes sense. So the Democrats want to throw chaos in the works, because they don't want Republicans to win. Democrats like to cheat. And so what they did is they created these new rules where you can only do an open primary, so it's a state-run primary, okay, where if there's any kind of corruption in the state, that throws off, how an election would be handled. They went from 1 day of voting to 45 days of early voting, which is ridiculous. because now as a party chairman, you have to find people to work the polls for 45 days prior to the actual election day. That's just chaotic. They went from having absentee balloting for certain reasons, like if you're military or you're traveling outside the country, to now, if you just don't want to leave your house, you can just mail in your vote. So they introduce all this chaos because they want to win. Some states are trying to allow illegal immigrants to vote. Start off with giving them driver's licenses. Now it's, we're going to let them vote too. And so it's all done to breed chaos. The Republican Party is not about chaos. We're about order. And so I think if we allow Democrats to get control of the city, you will see laws change. You will see your taxes go up. That's traditionally out of Democrats. They want to raise your taxes. And as a Republican, I believe in low taxes. I don't like paying taxes. I don't think anyone likes paying taxes, but we understand it's a necessary evil. But I want to pay only what is necessary and no more. The Democrats like to raise them because they want to fund these programs and fund this program and give to this whatever organization. No, you should only raise in taxes for specific reasons. So here in Lynchburg, if I don't become chairman and the current leadership continues on, I think what you're going to see is elections, Republican elections, start to be lost in the next, starting with the at-large elections in a couple of years. You're going to see that go away. I think we're going to lose our 5-2 majority. I think we're going to see Democrats take over city council, and then Lynchburg is going to look like a completely different place. And that's just something I don't want to see. I mean, I'm sure you've lived in cities where Democrats have run it. I have. I lived outside of Chicago. I watch what Democrats do in Chicago.
To be honest, I never paid attention like that. I've never paid attention to anything more than I have here in Lynchburg because This is home. Everywhere else I've been was just a pit stop or a temporary situation. Mm-hmm. So my eyes are opening for the first time.
Good.
What day do we go down and vote? Mm-hmm. How do we do it? What's it look like? So that way, for some of us who have social anxiety and don't know how to do this or where to go, how do we do that? Do you know?
Yeah. So it's a meeting. Okay. So it's not like you show up to the polls, you just pull levers, do a ballot, and you're done. It's an actual physical meeting you will attend. Okay. Okay. And essentially, you are a delegate to the meeting. Okay. And you'll go to that meeting. And that's where you'll sit through it. A person will be appointed as a temporary chairman. So let's back up for a second. I think it's important to understand how it works. Every 2 years, the local units all dissolve and reorganize every 2 years. Okay, so this meeting is being done for a couple things. Number one, you're going to elect a chairman. Number two, you're going to elect new members into a new committee. So the old LRCC ceases to exist. The new LRCC stands up in that same meeting. So new chairman, new members. That's kind of how that works, okay? So you'll go there, it's a meeting, you'll sign in, you're now a delegate in the meeting, and you'll be voting for the chairman and the new members of the committee. There's no work for you to do other than basically just marking a ballot, okay? Most of it's explained to you from the dais. So this one is going to be on Saturday the 23rd at New Covenant Schools. Meeting's at 10 o'clock. But you got to be in line before 10, otherwise they will not let you in. So I'm telling folks get there at 9:30, okay? Because there could be a line out the door. So you get there, you're going to give them your voting information, they're going to verify you in the database that you're a registered voter in Lynchburg, and they're going to let you into the meeting. And then once all the background stuff's been done, once they verify who you are, verify your status, and along with everyone else that's there, then when the meeting begins, you'll have your vote. So it'll probably take a couple hours for it to happen.
And most of that is just getting in the door, getting verified.
A lot of that is just that. And see, what's happening during the meeting is that there's a committee in the background who's vetting everyone. They're going through all the forms. So you'll go there, you'll fill a form out with your name, address, all that kind of stuff, and they're going to vet all that. Okay, and then they're going to make a report to everyone when they're done that let's just say there's 100 people showed up and 99 of them are good to go. There's one that is not a legal voter, so he can't vote. That person will be asked to leave, or he'll have to sit somewhere else. He can't vote.
Do we make him leave and we boo him as he leaves?
No, we don't boo him.
I'm assuming he's a he.
No, that's one thing I'm definitely putting a stop to. We don't boo and disrespect people. Some people, they didn't know. Some don't know the rules. It happens, right? But once all that's taken care of and we know who all the voters are in the room, then the meeting will commence. And there'll be, I'll give a speech and my opponent will give a speech. And then you guys will get a chance to vote for who you think is best for the committee.
Nice. That's pretty cool.
So it can be a long day. Depends on how things go.
But it's important.
But it's important because I think people have to understand, we made this comment before, your local party has a lot of influence locally over politics. And so this is a very important election. Who you put in office as the chairman, who you elect as the new committee is going to determine the makeup of city council. It's going to determine the makeup of your school board. And it also affects your electoral board, the people who are supposed to be looking out for the fairness of elections in Lynchburg. So there's a lot of stuff that this committee has their fingers in, and it's all legal. It's all in Virginia code. It's allowed to happen. Your electoral board, for example, has, I think, 3 members on it. So you have, one from each party and then 1 from the party of the governor. So it's 2-to-1 2-to-1 Republican right now, okay? Because Youngkin got elected as governor a couple of years ago, so we got that second seat. But the party appoints who gets to serve. But the average person doesn't know that. City council, the party typically finds the people to run. And also creates the level playing field, supposedly creates a level playing field for everyone to play nicely in. So again, who you put in power in the committee is going to determine how things go in Lynchburg going forward.
So you get elected, I think I want to join the party so I can come and have a say or
Sure.
at least be heard. Mm-hmm. If you don't do what you say, you're going to come back on so I can berate you on camera and tell you that I don't think that you're doing what you said you're going to do?
Sure. The thing about being a chairman is that the committee's job is to hold the chairman accountable. And, I've been a prior chairman. I've done the work. But you also have to surround yourself with good people. So there are times like when I ran my other committee, if I were thinking a certain direction that might have been an incorrect direction, I had a committee of people that their job was say, no, Dwight, no, we can't go that way. That's against the bylaws. Okay, great. What is in the bylaws? We go this direction. So it's not one person running everything. It's a committee running everything. So we're all in this together. My job is really just to preside over the committee. It's really the committee who makes all the decisions. That's the way it's supposed to be. And that's what I intend to do. I intend to change the bylaws.
Is it going to be a whole new committee?
Yes.
So who are we voting on that as well? Or do we choose the whole committee?
Yeah, you are. So some of the same people who are in the committee now are going to rejoin again. So when you go to that meeting on the 23rd, you're voting to say, I don't think they're going to read through everyone's name, but they're going to say, we had 100 people sign up to become members. They're all legal residents of Lynchburg. They're all eligible. Okay, everyone in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? And so essentially in one fell swoop, you voted everybody into that membership. So you are voting on the makeup of the new committee, but you're voting on the chairman and the makeup of the committee. At the first committee meeting, whenever it's going to be, that's when you're going to vote on who are going to be all your vice chairs. So all the people that are going to support the chairman and support the committee. And that's where it becomes very important as well. For me, I want people who want to be there for the right reason, who want to serve for the right reason, who are serving not for themselves, but are serving the committee, serving the city, but their job is also to hold the chair accountable. So there's a lot of accountability that needs to occur. And so back to your original question, if I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do, first off, I encourage you to come talk to me. I mean, we now have a relationship, Nathaniel.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, you've got my cell number, you call me. Hey, Dwight, you said this at a meeting, I disagree with it. Let's talk. Maybe I'm wrong, but we're in this together. This is not the Dwight Williams show. This is the Lynchburg Republican City Committee show. That's what it's all about. So I'd love to come back on, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, I will. I'll do what I can to rally the troops. Hopefully, people will watch this. Is it still recording, by the way?
Oh, yes, it is.
Perfect. So put it out to whatever the masses mean, and hopefully we'll show up and get it done.
Well, again,
I'd love to be a part of the committee and make some change moving forward.
Well, we would love to have you part of the committee. And again, it's this Saturday, March 23rd. Be there at 9 o'clock to get in line to register. It'll be a couple of hours. But again, if you want to make a change in Lynchburg,
we're gonna have like some music out there, some refreshments, something to keep us occupied while we're in line.
Aren't you bringing the music?
I could.
You do some dancing for us.
Maybe I could bring somebody to play out front. I don't know. Cool. All right. Well, I think this was productive, and it was a pleasure meeting you. And I look forward to seeing you Saturday.
Great. Nathaniel, thank you so much, brother.
Thank you so much.
It.